Hi guys! So I wanted to do a little commentary on the My Dear Cool King CMV slash live action video. Why is it called both? I don't know. Literally, I didn't know if it was technically a CMV or a live action, so I just put both. Because I can. Anyway, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that obviously only we know about, and I thought it would be funny to kind of share some of those comments and see some never before seen behind the scenes footage of the training scenes and all the stuff that we did. So starting out, we're gonna cover the training scene between Den and I. Den isn't a cosplayer, he's a theater person, and originally we didn't have anyone for Ryusaki. It was just gonna be Skye and I I asked her if she knew of anyone who could play Ryusaki, because we're both in local theater, and we were kind of going through her head who could possibly fit the description of Ryusaki. Skye was like, oh, my brother will do it. And I was like, yeah, right, like your brother would do it. And then he did. And so here we are. It was definitely interesting. I had to explain to Den who Ryusaki was, because before this video, he has no idea what My Dear Cool King is. He doesn't know the characters. Luckily for me, though, Den is already practically Ryusaki, so there was very little acting required on his part. I was just like, you're playful and, attractive? I didn't know how to describe it. And so he just went with it, and it actually turned out really nice. But, in regards to the training, as you can see, I look really bad in this footage. I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's because before this scene, we've never, practiced together before. We had, swung around a bit, but other than that, I've never really choreographed something like this. So we had to take, 5 minutes in the blistering heat to choreograph something for this video, because we had not had the chance before. And so you can see there's just a lot of patience on his part and a lot of uncoordination on mine, but I think the end product turned out pretty good. He had me do all these squats for that stupid dip, the dip scene where Mei falls off the rock and he puts her in a dipped position. I had to start out in a squat, and it couldn't be a fake squat where your toes are up. No, my heels had to be down. He was like, your heels need to be down. It was proper squat. My legs hurt so much the next day. Thanks, Den. I appreciate it. Okay, so on to the gardens. We filmed in San Antonio. A lot of you know that. You kind of guessed in the video if you're from the Texas area. That's where we filmed. We had to purchase a license for it. It was expensive. And it wasn't exclusive. So, the very beginning shots you see in the video, that was about 7 in the morning, roughly, because I got up at 5:30 in the morning to put everything together and to drive to meet up with Skye and the rest of our crew. It's about an hour to where the location was, and so we got there about 7, had to put on all this makeup, and by the time 9 o'clock rolled around, we had done some shooting already, but people were everywhere. Everywhere. They were stopping us for pictures and going through shots, and they actually thought that we were from Inuyasha or whatever, so it was pretty funny. We let them take pictures. We didn't correct them. Anyway, some of these beginning shots though are really pretty because the place is empty. But of course we didn't use most of these because at the time also I had a shot list of what shots I wanted, but we actually didn't end up following most of it. So we had no idea if the storyline would come together. We had no idea what it was going to be like. We were just like, alright, we're going to get these shots and we're going to go by, what's familiar, and so this is what we got. And you can see in this shot walking across the bridge, I did not use this shot because you can see all the glorious wrinkles in my skirt. In other shots we got, we had a wig epidemic. So okay, I had bought a wig for Ryusaki that was already in a ponytail in the style of what we wanted, but when we got it in, it was the ugliest thing we have ever seen. It was not working. And so that only left us at the location because obviously we hadn't worked with Den before this. Literally the day of is when we tried on his costumes and we tried on his wigs and we put him in eyeliner, and it was hilarious. But anyway, the wig was horrendous. Absolute mess. So what we did was we had 2 wigs. We had Mei's training wig, which without being braided is curly, And then we had Mei's regular straight wig, which you see that I'm in the majority of the video. So what we had to do was that every time there was a scene with Den as Ryusaki, we had to switch wigs. So if his hair wasn't pulled back, it was my wig, Mei's main wig that he was wearing, and then if his hair was pulled back, I was wearing the wig. So he had to do that whole scene, that whole fighting gazebo thing with Mei's wig on. And so you can imagine it was a bit sweaty, and then afterwards I was like, oh my, I have to mess with this. And so that was one of the things that we were just it was a funny exchange, that's for sure. You can see some of these scenes we tried to do Mei with the curly hair, and it just bugs me. I'm like, no, people are gonna comment Mei doesn't have curly hair. And I already knew we'd probably be in hot water as it was for having a female Katsu. Cosplay is cosplay. It doesn't matter what skin color you are, what ethnicity you are, what gender you are, it doesn't matter. Cosplay is just a fun tribute to a fandom that you love. And I don't think any of that should become a factor in things. People just enjoy doing stuff like this. And so I thought that we would get some flack for not being anime enough, for not being Asian enough, for not being like cultural appropriation, but I was like, no. We're appreciating this, you know? This is not cultural appropriation. This is cultural appreciation. And there is a big difference. So anyway, I had those fears coming into this video. And so I was really trying to be careful. Katsu was cosplayed by Skye. Skye is a woman. If that is not noticeable, check your eyes, because she's a beautiful woman. Which Katsu could technically pass as, so... You know what? We're like, you know what? The men in this story are kind of feminine, and that's a trait of the type of genre that it is, so I was like, yeah, you could probably, most women cosplay men like this. Skye put on the wig, we got foundation in the wig, it was amazing. She had the mask, we tried to make it as androgynous as possible, like with the camera shots, so that's why we didn't show the face, and we didn't show, you know, anything that could give her away, really, as a female cosplayer. Of course, there's some moments here and there that could be, you know, taken as, oh my gosh, she has a chest. But I don't think it was very noticeable, and that's also why I included it in the behind the scenes originally attached to the video, because I thought it was cool that she deserves so much props, because they spent, so Maddie was our makeup, last minute makeup edition, and she spent probably like 10-15 minutes on Katsu's eyebrows, which we never got to display. I'm so upset. Katsu's eyebrows were on point, literally, like, white and everything, like they had transformed her eyebrows, and we never got to see them. Not really, anyway, and I don't even think we still have a good shot of them. But it was impressive, and so major props to the whole crew, but especially them, because that was great. The infamous boop scene where he, like, walked, we planned this also last minute, because I was like, oh, we need a transition. You know, we need to do something playful. He was like, oh, why don't I boop your nose? Or boop, if I do a boop. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious, because keep in mind, like I said, he has no idea what the comic is, so the fact that he was the one that suggested the boop was perfect. I was like, okay, yeah, that works. He and Skye are like over 6 foot? I don't know if they're 6'2" or 4. They're over 6 foot, okay? I'm 5'6". So that's why I look so tiny in comparison. I mean, they're kind of close to the guys' heights in the story, so that was a bonus, but I am very short in comparison, so we tried to make up for Mei's height. So that's also the thing. During the whole training scene, I'm basically on a rock, which is a couple inches. It gives me a couple inches. A quick thing about the training scene, you notice that my outfit is not as accurate as it could be. You know, my training outfit, Mei's has like the white stripes down, it's a long sleeve with the wraps at the end. Originally we had something like that. So we had Mei's like top piece with the long sleeves and stuff like that, but when we got to location, it was so hot. I mean, like, I'm still recovering from the sunburn from that day. It was incredibly hot, and so I was like, nope, we're going with a tank top. And so that's what we did. We had to sacrifice a little bit so that I didn't, you know, die. Because half the time, like I said, we don't know what we're doing, really. We had some things planned out, but really, it was a big, oh, I don't know, surprise me. Do something that would fit the character, For Mei, it's just kind of, you know, looking kind of serious and taken aback, I guess. And then for Ryusaki, he just has to smile. So for the scene where she bumps into him, that was so funny because this is the first scene that we filmed together as Ryusaki and Mei. And he still didn't really know what the character was, and we're kind of getting past like the awkwardness of, hey, you're a love interest, so I'm gonna back into you, and you're gonna smirk down at me really creepily, but not creepily because it's hot. Like I said, I had a horrible time explaining this to him. So anyway, the first time that I backed into him, he does this like creepy grin, and I couldn't hold it together. I had to laugh out the shot, and eventually we got it down, and of course we got more used to our characters, and there was no awkwardness, and it was really funny. But it took a while, okay? And we goofed off a lot in between. So yeah, you can see, poor thing, he doesn't know what he's gotten roped into. It was fun. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little behind the scenes commentary on My Dear Cool But a King. If you guys want to show your support, then be sure to leave comments down below, share around the original video with your friends, and watch the ads. As weird as that sounds, on the main video, if you watch the ads, it helps us make back a little bit of the money that we put into this. And by a little, I mean it's a little, but every bit helps. So if you could watch the ads, give us a couple extra seconds of your time, that would actually be a huge help, and I would appreciate it. So thank you guys so much for being such great fans. Thank you, Lifelight, for being such a cool author and allowing all of this and being so supportive. It's been a lot of fun, and I adore Mei. I adore voicing Mei. I love this whole experience. It's been a lot of fun. I've grown a lot as a voice actor because of voicing Mei and having to stretch my emotions, and I've made a lot of good friends, and I've got to make memories with my lifelong friends, and so it's been really cool, and I hope we do this with more webtoons. Not just My Dear Cool But a King, but maybe some other ones out there. If you think you might want to see a live action of another webtoon, suggest those down below and maybe we'll look into it. Because I would really like to experience more with filming and acting and editing and all that fun stuff. So, thank you guys so much. I will see you on the flip side, whatever the flip side is. Bye.